All right, this is the review for Module 2. So we certainly need to know about all the different types of slopes. So the first four questions are really just to make sure we know the difference between the ones. So positive slope, that's the one that's going upwards as we read left to right. So that would be graph C. Which one has zero slope? Well, there's no slope there at all. That's completely flat. We can also think of this as horizontal as well. And then we can think of the word HOI, H-O, with the O being zero. And therefore that would be graph A. Undefined slope, that's the one that goes up and down. Vertical line, VUX, V-U-X, the U being undefined is another way to think of that as well. And a negative is the one that goes down as we read left to right. And it's important we can recognize those because they certainly help eliminate answers on certain questions, as we're going to see later. So, starting off with a word problem, Carla is saving money for a vacation. The equation y equals 25x plus 200 gives the amount she has saved in dollars after x weeks, which correctly describes the slope. So the slope, as it starts with y equals, is the number in front of the x here. So something to do with 25 here. It does say that x is the number of weeks. So this means that she's been saving then $25 each week. And I think from that, we can actually pick out the correct answer. So we also know from this, it does say in dollars after X weeks. So we know this has something to do with dollars as well. So we can also ignore this answer of 25 weeks here. This 200 would actually be the starting amount that she had. So the thing with the X is what changes. Therefore, 25 is changing. If she's saving, that's the amount of money she's saving each week. That's the thing that's changing. Jim owns a car. He has been checking its value the last few months. The equation y equals 30,000 minus 500x shows the relationship between the value of the car, y, in dollars, and how long Jim has owned it in x, in months, for the first year he owns the car. So for this one, which statement correctly describes the slope? So once again, as it starts with y equals, that's going to be the number in front of the x, which in this case is negative 500. So we're talking about the value changing by 500. So we're definitely looking at between C and D. The fact that this is a negative number tells us that it's decreasing. If you know anything about cars, you'll certainly know that their value goes down, unless it's perhaps one of those collectible cars. Which graph shows y equals 4/3 x plus 2? Well, I'm noticing from the slope straight away, this is a positive slope, so I'm already looking at just these two answers here. And I can also see it goes up 4 and across 3. Now, if I was to check this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then across 3, I might think that that's not on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Well, this one's a little off the line. That makes this one a little bit difficult to tell. So we need to find another point on the line, perhaps this point here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And we can see that it's that point there. Now, we also probably, particularly for this one here, we actually want to check this answer as well. With it not being particularly clear, let's have a look at the picture and see if we can use that to help us find out the answer as well. So we want an x-intercept of 2, and we want a y-intercept of negative 1.5, as in between negative 1 and... Well, I can see that's not between negative 1 and negative 2, so it's not this one here. But I can certainly see this one is here. So we can do it a couple of different ways depending on how much we want to use our calculator. Move the 2 points to make the graph of y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. So this is certainly the slope, but the number without the x, that's going to be the y-intercept. So I'm going to want to start from 3 on the y-axis, and then I just want to use rise over run for this. Now, with the negative being in the middle, that can be sometimes confusing. The negative applies to the top number only. So this means that I'm going down 1. So let me go to the start here. Down 1, and then across 2. And that looks pretty good. And you can also check on Desmos as well, just by typing it in. And it's not going to be 100% clear, but it'll at least tell you if you've done anything horribly wrong. So looking at this picture here, I can see it goes through 3 on the x-axis, on the y-axis, sorry. It goes through 6 on the y-axis, which I can't see on my picture, but that looks pretty accurate as well. So I'm pretty confident that I've actually done a good job on this question. Oops, I think I skipped 2 together. Y equals 4x. Now, there's no number on the end here, which actually means that the y-intercept is going to be 0. And then the slope for this one is 4. That's the number in front of the x. Now, we really want a fraction to do rise over run. So if we don't have a fraction, we just write this over 1. So 4 over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. and 1 across. And you can see by my coding here that this is a correct answer. Once again, if you type this into Desmos, you will see that the y-intercept is 0 as well, if you didn't know that. Y equals 2. Now, there's only one letter for this one, so I know this is a special case. This is either horizontal or vertical. And the fact it's got a Y in, I know this is HOY. So H-O-Y. H stands for horizontal, and I want it to go through 2 on the Y-axis, and I want to make this a horizontal line. And it doesn't really matter where you put the second point on this. As long as you get that horizontal line, you're good. And this one is super easy to check on Desmos as well. Y equals 2, and you can see that that picture matches up really nicely. Then there's a couple for you to try as well. I actually think that might be a mistake, 4x. I think that was the question here. That number did not get changed, so that was supposed to get changed. But, well, it'll still be the same answer. It should be up 4 and across 1. Yeah, that's still true. Make x equals 4. Now, once again, this only has one letter, so I'm thinking this is Vux, V-U-X, which means it's a vertical line going through 4 on the x-axis. Unfortunately, with this being a vertical line, the computer's not going to let me actually graph this one, but it would on the actual program itself. Y equals negative 2x. So once again, nothing at the end here. So I know this means that the y-intercept is 0. And negative 2, just a single number again. So I'm going to want to put this over 1. And I'm going to go down 2 and then across 1. And you can check on the calculator if you needed to. I have my code in, so you can see that this one has been done correctly. And that's actually the end of the first part of the test. So make sure you understand those key ideas. Counting squares are certainly important for this one, but knowing which way you're counting is also important while you're actually doing that.